Hello and welcome to the latest Pass the 11 Plus Maths episode, brought to you by ExamBuddy. Today we're going to be talking about BIDMAS. So, what is BIDMAS? Well, BIDMAS is an acronym that you can use to help you solve the different operations in a maths equation. The aim is to help you to remember a systematic approach to the equation and also to save time. So, BIDMAS stands for B for brackets, I for indices, D for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. So let's take a closer look and see how it's used. When you see an equation, the first thing you should look to see are their brackets. Complete any parts of the equation that are found in brackets. Look at the example below. First, you solve 4 plus 5, because this is found in the brackets, and then you add 1. Moving on to indices. After you've solved any brackets, you solve indices. These refer to parts of the questions that have squares, cubes, or square roots. So for example, 2 plus 5 squared. First of all, you would calculate what 5 squared is, 25, and then add 2. Next, let's take a look at division and multiplication. So it's important when you get to this stage of BIDMAS that you are working from left to right. You always solve division and multiplication parts of the equation after indices, starting with whichever one you find on the left of the equation. So for example, 8 divided by 2 plus 4, you divide by 2 first, and then add 4. 2 times 8 divided by 4, this can get tricky. What do you do first, multiply or divide? So you work from left to right. The multiplication part, 2 times 8, is found closest to the left of the equation, so you do this first, 16. Then you divide it by 4 to give you 4. The same rule applies for addition and subtraction. Again, after you've done division and multiplication, you look at the equation to see whether there are any addition or subtraction elements. You start from left to right. So, looking at the examples, 2 plus 5 minus 2. The addition part of the equation is closest to the left, so you add first and then subtract. The second example shows that the subtraction is to the left of the equation, so you do this first, then move on to addition. So hopefully that helps you understand what BIDMAS is trying to tell you. Let's look at some examples. 2 plus 16 divided by 2. If you want to try this before we give you the answer in the explanation, pause your recording now. So, step 1. There are no brackets, there are no indices, but there is division. So we divide 16 by 2. There's no multiplication, but there is addition. So we add 2. This gives us the answer 10. Let's move on to another example. Again, pause your recording if you want to answer this before we give the explanation. So, 5 plus 2 times, brackets, 3 plus 7, close brackets. So, working through BIDMAS, step 1, we solve the brackets. So we have 3 plus 7, which gives us 10, leaving the equation 5 plus 2 times 10. Now we move on to indices, but there are no indices. So we skip to multiplication. 5 plus 2 times 10. 2 times 10 gives you 20, so we have 5 plus 20. Next we move on to see if there is any division, which there isn't, so we move on to addition and subtraction. There is no subtraction, so we simply need to do 5 plus 20 to get the answer 25. Let's take a look at a more complex example now. 15 minus 2 plus 8 divided by 2 times brackets 1 plus 1 close brackets squared. So I think we can all agree this looks like a horrible equation, but using BIDMAS we should be able to answer it. Pause the recording now if you want to try the answer before the explanation. So, step 1, let's deal with the brackets. 1 plus 1 gives you 2. So we already know that the 1 plus 1 found in the brackets has now become a 2. We deal with the indices, 2 squared, which gives us 4. Next, let's move on to division. Here we have 8 divided by 2. We know that this is 4, so we substitute the 8 divided by 2 for 4. Working through systematically, we know that multiplication comes next. 15 minus 2 plus 4 times 4. So that gives us 15 minus 2 plus 16. Step 5, we've now moved on to subtraction. We've started with subtraction because this is found to the left side of the equation before addition. So 15 minus 2 plus 16 is equal to 13 plus 16. Last but not least, addition. 13 plus 16 equals 29. Now it's important to remember that you're unlikely to come across anything this difficult in your 11 plus exam, but the process of using BIDMAS is important, and it's important to be systematic. We recommend that you write down each step in your working as you work through brackets, indices, division, multiplication, addition and subtraction, so that you can see if you've made any errors and the examiner knows that you've used a methodical approach. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pass the 11 Plus focusing on BIDMAS. If you want access to hundreds more free online maths questions, sign up at www.exambuddy.co.uk.